The performer removes 10 playing cards from the deck and invites the spectator to participate in 3 hands of poker. With every hand, the odds are placed further in the spectator's favour. Yet against all odds, you are able to beat them every single time, with the spectator having the options to shuffle, deal, select and view playing cards. They will always lose. With only 10 playing cards in play, nothing added, nothing taken away, the deck can be your own or borrowed. You are able to look like one of the best card cheats the spectator would have ever seen. I am TOMsavage. This is the poker lesson. I am TOMsavage, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to yet another video, and if this is your first time here today, you picked a good day to turn up. Today is the first video of its kind on my channel. Today is the first tutorial I'm ever going to do. Should be the first of many if this goes well. If I enjoy doing it and you enjoy watching it, then I'm going to be producing plenty more of these tutorials. So let's see how this goes. So as you all know by now, by the title of this video and the introduction, this is the poker lesson. The performer takes 10 playing cards from a deck. It can be any 10 playing cards, it can be any deck of playing cards, and invites the spectator to participate in 3 hands of poker. With the odds forever in your spectator's favour, you are able to beat them hands down 3 times whilst they remain in full control throughout, and genuinely believe there is no way you can influence the game. This trick is not very difficult in terms of method and sleights. This is something you should have down pretty quickly, but used in the right situation and performed in the right way, this can be a killer. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight down to the table. I am TOMsavage. This is the poker lesson. Okay, so let's get down to the poker lesson. So this effect, I like it because you can perform this as a magician and use this as a magic effect if you're a magician that wants to start performing gambling routines. So it's great for that, but also on the flip side, you can use it as it was shown to me. It was shown to me as a hustle, as a swindle, a way that you can take bets and take money off of people for winning. I don't condone doing that. If you're going to do this, use it as a magic trick, you know, impress people and make people happy, not empty their pockets. So this effect was shown to me quite a few years ago now. It's quite a long time ago. So I liked the idea at the time, but there were a few moments in the trick that they felt like they was in the wrong order, and there was sort of opportunity for a few moments to go wrong, which I've corrected. This is now pretty much a fail-safe method. There's only sort of one stage that can fail, but sometimes if it does fail, it can be for the better. It's never happened to me, it's never failed before, but if it does, there is a nice little out for it, which actually makes this effect a little bit better. But there was a few things when I was shown to do with the order and how things worked. It wasn't quite perfect, and there was opportunity for people to sort of backtrack and go, oh, actually, okay, this is how it must have worked because this happened every time. So I've done my best to eradicate all of the problems that I've seen and made it into what it is, and what you're about to see now. So let's get straight into it. So it's broken up into 3 stages. You're going to play 3 hands, and every single time you're putting the odds in your spectator's favour. So it will appear to them that they have got more of a chance of winning this game than what you have. And you're only going to use 10 cards. The odds are forever in their favour. You've only got 10 cards and they are in control. They're going to have opportunities to shuffle, to deal, to physically see playing cards before they're added to either hand. There's so many different things in this where it just puts them in full control. Yeah, every single time you are able to beat them, no problem, hands down. So let's get straight into it. Let's look at stage number 1. Okay, so for stage number 1, this is where you're going to obviously start, and you're going to introduce what you're about to do. You're going to tell your participant, your spectator, that you're going to play 3 hands of poker, and you're going to show them how a cheat would make you feel secure but then beat you in the end, as cheats are supposed to do. You explain that you're not going to use the whole deck for it because it makes it a little bit more difficult to follow, and you're going to use 10 cards. 10 cards, 5 cards to a hand, 5 each. The numbers are perfect. So you're going to pull out any 10 cards. Now, I'll get to this in a minute. I'll explain that it can be any 10 cards, but there are cards that are going to help you with a few different bits and pieces that are going to come up later. So as much as it is a free choice and you can use any cards you like, there's a few, I'm going to give you a few pointers on cards that are going to be better for you to pick. So 10 playing cards. So you're going to remove, without the spectator seeing, you're going to remove 3 of a kinds. They can be any 3 of a kind you like, but I will explain my thoughts on this in a minute. And then you're going to remove 1 indifferent card, which again can be absolutely any card you want. It really doesn't matter, but there's going to be a card that I'll explain in a minute that's going to help you out for this. So for me, when I do this, I like to use sort of a range. So I'll have 1 3 of a kind being quite a high, so like a jack, a queen or a king, then like a mid-range set of 3, and then a lower end set of 3. So they can be absolutely any playing cards you like, and obviously you will not let the spectator see this as you do it. You do not want them seeing the playing cards at all at any stage. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the playing cards that I'm going to use. Okay, so these are my 3 of a kinds. I've removed 3 queens, 3 nines, 3 fours. In terms of suit, doesn't matter at all. It's very unlikely that you're going to be introducing hands where you're going to be winning by like a flush or a straight flush. It's very unlikely. So in terms of suit, it doesn't matter. I just prefer to go with, as I said, that range. So I've got 3 high cards as 3 queens, some sort of mid-range nines, and then bottom end fours. So they're my 3 of a kinds. The next card that you're going to need is your indifferent card. Now this can be any card whatsoever. It really doesn't matter. But because of what's going to happen in the first stage, I like to make it a specific card. So I always choose an ace, specifically the ace of spades. So the reason for this, which I'll get to in a minute, is the first stage, to get the cards selected, you're actually going to give the spectator an opportunity to look at the cards before they decide whose hand they go to. Again, I'll get to this more in a minute. But regardless of who you're playing, any person in the world, whether you've got a high level of card knowledge or a low level of card knowledge, it doesn't matter. If you show somebody an ace and say, okay, do you want this card in your hand? Absolutely everybody is going to say, yes, I want an ace. Nobody is going to turn down an ace. If you were playing poker, let's just say you're playing Texas Hold'em, the best possible sight you can see when you peek your whole cards is bullets. It's 2 aces. Nothing gets better than that. So I prefer to use an ace. It can be any ace. Suit doesn't really matter. The reason I choose spades is because the ace of spades is the most recognisable card. So if you are playing with someone that's not got this mass of card knowledge in card games, and they may not quite understand everything, they are going to recognise an ace of spades, and that is going to make them choose these cards, and that is exactly what you want. So they are the cards I run with. As I say, you can use absolutely any cards you like, but that is what I prefer to use. 3 queens, 3 nines, 3 fours, and an ace of spades. So now you've got the playing cards out and chosen, your spectator has not seen them, it's time to move on to the next part of the effect. Okay, so now we've got the playing cards out. In remembering your spectator has not seen these yet, it is imperative that they do not see these playing cards yet. We don't need them knowing what cards have come out and how many there are of each. So with these kept to yourself, we're going to do the first normal thing that you would expect to see in a game of poker before the game would begin, and that is a shuffle. The shuffle is exactly as it seems. It's completely fair. You're not really doing anything other than, for me, I like to keep the ace on the bottom for the majority of the shuffle until I'm ready to start. So obviously, simple, easy way to do that is a simple bottom retention. You can do whatever you like. I prefer to just keep it simple and do an overhand shuffle. Nothing suspicious looking, easiest way to shuffle. For those that don't know, maybe you're brand new to sleight of hand. All I'm doing there to do that is fingers 2 to 4, hold the bottom card. As I peel this packet up, it keeps the card on the bottom as I continue to shuffle, maintaining the ace on the bottom. Now you're just going to do this a couple of times until the cards look like they've been shuffled, and then on the final shuffle you're just going to shuffle away and bring the ace of spades to the top. Now you can do this any which way you like. I just like to keep it simple. There's no need to go extreme here. This is something super simple. Okay, so now we have the cards out, the cards are shuffled, the spectator has no idea what sort of order they're in, and the ace of spades is sitting on top. So now comes the start of the trick, the first phase. So basically the secret to this whole thing is whoever ends up with the indifferent card, in this case the ace of spades, whoever ends up with this in their hand is gonna lose. There is no way to win as long as you have this card in your hand. So as long as your spectator gets the ace every single time, you're gonna win, no problems. So it's just a case of how we get that ace into their hand every time. So for stage one is going to be super fair. You're going to say to your spectator that you're going to show them each card, one card at a time, and without you looking, and then you're going to tell them that once they've looked at it, they can decide who gets this card. So either they can have it or I can have it. As long as we end up with 5 cards each at the end, it doesn't matter. So it's a completely free choice, and it is. So the first thing you're going to do is take the top card off and show them the top card. Now, I don't care who you are, whether you're experienced in card games or not experienced at all, you're going to recognise the ace and the ace of spades, hence the reason I use it. Nobody is going to turn down an ace in their hand. So literally every single time they are going to say yes as soon as you show them this card. It has never, ever in a million years failed for me. But in case it did fail, and for some completely weird reason, you pull this card out and say, okay, well, do you want this card or shall I have it? And they say that we can have it. Obviously, if we get this ace, there's nothing now we can do. We are going to lose this hand, whether we like it or not. But it's not a complete failure, because we can then use this when we lose at the end, and we can tell the spectator that a real cheat, a real hustler is looking to make the most money he can. So he will do something, what I think pool players, I think they call it playing at speed. So we're going to play worse than what we can play to keep them involved in the game. So you can just tell your spectator before the cards are turned over and the hands are revealed, okay, so I actually have lost this hand to gain your trust, to make you think you can beat me. And then you can carry on doing the normal routine from there. Very unlikely, very unnecessary for me to say this. It literally has never happened to me ever. Whenever you show anybody an ace, they would be completely crazy to say no to having an ace in their hand. So just for this example, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to show them the first card. They're going to say yes. They take the first card being the ace. Now the rest of the distribution of these cards does not matter. It could not matter at all. Because they now have the ace, you are going to win. We haven't got to worry about a thing. So one by one, you're just going to keep showing the spectator their cards. They decide where they're going to go. It can happen in absolutely any order they like. It doesn't matter. And at this point, because the ace is gone, you can even say, halfway through, maybe you've done 4, 5, 6 cards, you can say, you know what, give these a shuffle in case you think I'm cheating. You can give them the option to then reshuffle the cards, and then you can keep showing them, they can decide. And then when you get about halfway through, I always like to say, okay, to keep this interesting, we'll do the rest face down. So instead of showing them the card, you're just going to do this face down, and they can decide and dictate where each card goes. As long as everybody ends up with 5 playing cards, it does not matter. Now, obviously, because we know that they have the ace, something on the mat there, because we know that they have the ace, we know that they have lost. So we can now quite easily and confidently say, okay, so take a look at your hand, let's see what you got. So when they turn this hand over, so in this case we're looking at 2 pair, 9s and queens. We then collect our cards. We can do this nice and easily, fairly, and we can then go through and say we have 3 of a kind, 3 4s. The other 2 cards in your hand, I always prefer to put them face down in case they're cards that the spectator hasn't seen. The less they know about what cards are in the game, the better. But I mean, it's likely that nobody's going to remember the rest of the cards anyway, but that's just something that I like to do. So we show off our 3 of a kind, they've got 2 pair, that's 1-0 to us, and we're ready to move on to the next stage. Okay, so now we have phase 1 done, we are ready to move on to phase 2. This is how we leave phase 1. So all we need to do here to start the second phase is simply know where the ace is. So obviously we know the ace is here. As long as we are in control of where that ace is, everything else is fine. So you're just going to pick up the playing cards in whatever order. And I like to put the ace straight onto the bottom of the deck. Now, to start the second phase, to make this fair, you say to your spectator, okay, this time we'll just play a completely normal game. But this time, I will let you shuffle the playing cards. So instead of me shuffling, or instead of you, the performer, shuffling, they are going to get to shuffle the playing cards. So you're going to give them the playing cards, and then they can go ahead and shuffle. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can do it the way that I do it, and cop the ace out off of the bottom. Or you could always just nick the end and dog one of the corners just so you can locate that ace again. Personally, I prefer to remove the ace from the deck because if you decide to do the method of dogging one of the ears, when the playing cards come back, you, instead of being able to, you want to have these in your hands for as small a time as possible so it doesn't look like you've done anything. If you've dogged the card, when we need to move it back to the bottom, the ace needs to be on the bottom for this next part. So if you've nicked that, when those cards come back, we've got to make a cut somewhere, or we've got to do a pass or something horrible to get that ace back to the bottom. Whereas if I have this in a gambler's cop and I can stand here, nobody can see it, when I get the playing cards back, I can simply load it straight onto the bottom and then instantly drop these cards. So nobody's going to have any memory of this tiny moment where I've loaded the ace to the bottom and the cards are back on the table. The idea is that I have as less contact with these playing cards right now as possible. So just again, we tell the spectator that it's going to be their turn to shuffle. We cop the ace out of the middle in our hand. They do their shuffling as much as they like. Cards come back. We load the ace back onto the bottom, and then we get rid of the cards out of our hands. We don't make a point of saying, okay, I'm going to put the cards down. There's no need to. It's an action that speaks for itself. We don't want to draw any attention to this. So the ace gets loaded back on the bottom, drop the playing cards back to the table, and then invite your spectator to deal. Now, the deal is now important, and this is the reason the ace needs to be on the bottom. You're going to explain to your spectator that if they play cards a lot, they will know this anyway, but if they don't know this, you'll explain to the spectator that when the deal is done in poker, you don't ever deal to yourself first, you deal to the person to your left. Now, there's only 2 of us playing in this case, so that person on the left is us. We must receive the first card, and then maths will do the rest. So once you've explained that they have to deal to the left first, they will pick the playing cards up. They're going to deal 1 to us, 1 to themselves, 1 to us, 1 to themselves, and they're going to do this until all of the playing cards are exhausted. Now, due to maths, and because we have taken the first card, that therefore forces them to deal themselves the bottom card, which is the ace. So again, job is once again done. They have got the ace, they have lost. So again, cool, calm, collectively and completely confidently, we can say, okay, turn your hand over, let's see what you got. They can turn it over. Again, in this case, they have 2 pair, 9s and 4s, which means that we will have a 3 of a kind, and we do indeed have 3 coins. So yet again, our triples beat the 2 pair. That is phase 2 done. Okay, now that phase 2 is done, we are ready to move on to phase 3. So again, the same rule applies. All we need to know for this phase is where the ace is. So far they've been able to see playing cards and choose what ones they wanted. They've had a chance at shuffling and dealing. Now we're going to make it as fair as we can possibly make it. So again, we're going to pick the playing cards up, collect them, remembering where that ace is. At this point again, I'm going to put it on the bottom. Now you've got 2 options when you do this. You can either shuffle yourself again and keep the ace somewhere where you're going to know where it is. Again, easy, just do a bottom retention, keep it on the bottom if you want to. Or if you would prefer, again, I prefer at this point to explain to them is, well, I'm going to make this as fair as I can possibly make it this time. I'm going to cop the ace away again in a gambler's cop, offer them to shuffle. Now, some people might worry about this and say, oh, there's only 10 cards, you're taking one away, now there's only 9, are they going to feel the difference? Because you've only got 10 cards, the packet is incredibly thin anyway. Nobody is going to notice that there's a playing card gone, as long as you're not flashing it like mad in their face. Nobody is going to know that there is a card gone. So again, they can come back, they can shuffle. This puts them in full control again. So that's a terrible little wash shuffle, but you get the point. The cards can be shuffled as much as they like. When we take them back, we're going to simply load our palmed ace back onto the bottom, and we are ready to go. So now the cards are in a completely random order with our indifferent card, our ace of spades, our killer card on the bottom. At this point, you're just going to deal the cards around on the table, anywhere you like. All you need to remember when you do this is where you deal the ace. Now we know the ace is going to be the final card. So you're just going to deal the playing cards any which place you like on the table, as long as you remember where the ace ends up. And obviously in this case, that is the ace. That is all you need to remember for the last part of this routine. Now to start it, again, we must do this first, because then there is no possible way on earth that we can end up with that ace. So once the playing cards have been dealt out, you're going to explain that one at a time, taking it in turns, we're each going to take a playing card for our own hand. And as you say, you're just going to reach in and pick up any playing card you like, as long as you do not pick up the ace. So you're going to reach in and say, we're just going to take one playing card each at a time, and then hold it openly and fairly in your hand, as freely as you can be. Now nobody's going to question this, because you're giving them an instruction, and by giving them that instruction and then just picking one up, you're showing them exactly what you want them to do. So as soon as you've picked up a playing card, it's their turn to pick up a playing card. So from this point on, they can pick up any playing card they like, it doesn't matter, as long as we do not pick up this one. So let's just say they pick this one, they can take that. I will take this one, they may take that one. Now this may go all the way to the end, to where we're only left, say, with 2 playing cards. We know this is the ace, and this is the one that we can take. Obviously, if it comes to this situation, we would take the good card, leaving them and to force them to take the ace. But hopefully, at some point during this selection process, if there's something that can happen that can take this trick up. If it gets to their turn, so we've just taken one, so we take another card, as long as it's not the ace, and then it's their turn. If they then go and pick the ace up, this is perfect, because now the mine in the minefield is gone. So if they have the ace, this gives you even more freedom, because now the heat's back on us and we can pick again, but because the ace is gone, you don't have to worry anymore. So you can make this even fairer and say, you know what, to make this even more impossible and put the odds more in your favour, I'm going to let you pick my cards as well. So you can pick my last 2 cards. So then they can give you whatever card they want. They will take one, they give me one, they're forced to take the last one. Once again, obviously, they've already got the ace at this point. If they hadn't picked the ace halfway through, obviously our final pick will force them to pick the ace. So there's no worries, because we've picked first. It cannot possibly go wrong unless you forget where the ace is and pick it up, but you're not going to do that. So once this is done, again, the trick is finished. You can say turn them over. Let's have a look at what hand you got. In this case, they done absolutely terrible. It's just a measly pair of fours with the kicker ace, which means that we will have 2 pair of queens and a 9, and that is the 3rd win out of 3. They can't believe it. They've shuffled, they've chosen, they've selected, they've dealt, they've done everything they possibly do, and you take credit for being the most insane card cheat they are going to see for a very long time. So that is the secret to the poker lesson. Let's go to the outro. Okay, so that is all I have to say on the poker lesson. You now know the secrets, you know everything you need to know to go out and use this in real life situations. If you did like this video, please drop the video a like and let me know down in the comments if you want to see more videos like this. Tutorials is something that I've always thought about and never been quite sure whether I should get into. But this is something that I thought would be just something simple and nice, a nice place to start, just to see if you guys like this sort of platform, to see whether I enjoyed making it, which I did. So if you want to see more videos like this, hit the like button, let me know down in the comment section below. I've already got the next tutorial in mind. It's a pretty good effect that I came up with a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, that I have used plenty of times and had much success with. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. As for now, that is it from me today. Don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment, hit the subscribe button, smash the bell button so you are the first person to know every time I drop a dope new video. And as for now, I will see you on the other side.